Some stories are never finished, they're just filed away. Welcome to Chronicles of the Obscure. In the vast, crushing silence of the deep Pacific, an ancient secret stirred. The year was 1997. Thousands of miles from any civilization, a sound unlike any other ripped through the water. It was a low, ultra-powerful frequency, a deep and resonant pulse that traveled for over 3,000 miles. It was a sound so immense, so utterly powerful, that it defied all known biological explanation. It was louder than any animal on Earth, including the mighty blue whale, the loudest creature we know of. Captured by a top-secret network of underwater microphones, the sound was given a simple, almost playful name that belied its terrifying implications. The Bloop. For over a decade, its origin would remain one of the greatest modern mysteries of the ocean. A ghost in the machine that haunted scientists and ignited the public imagination. What gargantuan, unknown thing could make such a noise? To understand how we even heard this phantom sound, we have to go back to the Cold War. At the height of tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union, the US Navy deployed a clandestine underwater surveillance system called the Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS. It was a massive network of hydrophones, essentially underwater microphones, laid across the seabed in strategic locations throughout the world's oceans. Its sole purpose was to listen for the subtle acoustic signatures of enemy submarines. For decades, SOSUS was one of the military's most closely guarded secrets. But as the Cold War thawed, the Navy, in a remarkable act of scientific collaboration, granted civilian researchers at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, access to this powerful listening tool. They hoped to use it to study undersea earthquakes, marine mammal migrations, and the ambient noise of the deep ocean. They had no idea they were about to stumble upon a mystery that would captivate the world. On that day in 1997, the SOSUS array picked up the Bloop. When NOAA acousticians analyzed the recording, they were stumped. The sound's profile was strange. It rose rapidly in frequency over about a minute and had a unique, reverberating quality. Most intriguing, and most unsettling, was its acoustic signature. It bore a striking resemblance to the vocalizations of a living creature, but its sheer amplitude was off the charts. To generate a sound that powerful, an animal would have to be colossal, far larger than any known species, including the blue whale. Dr. Christopher Fox, a scientist at NOAA who led the acoustic monitoring project, was baffled. In interviews, he couldn't rule out the possibility of an animal source, but admitted he didn't know what it could be. The coordinates of the Bloop's origin were traced to a remote point in the South Pacific Ocean, west of the southern tip of South America. An empty, desolate stretch of water, thousands of feet deep. The mystery was officially born. With no official explanation, the public's imagination ran wild. The Bloop became a modern legend, a perfect piece of evidence for those who believe the deep ocean still hides monstrous secrets. It was tailor-made for the internet age, spreading through forums and early social media like wildfire. For many, it was the definitive proof of a Cthulhu-like entity, a nod to the cosmic horror author H.P. Lovecraft, who wrote of ancient city-sized monsters sleeping in the sunken city of R'lyeh, which he fictionally placed eerily close to the Bloop's real-world origin point. The theory was irresistible. A massive, unknown biological organism, a true sea monster, had awakened from its slumber in the abyssal depths, its first groaning sigh captured by our own technology. Documentaries, articles, and countless online videos presented the Bloop as the call of a leviathan. The story was just too good to be a simple anomaly. It spoke to a primal fear and fascination with the unknown. The idea that for all our technology, we are still just skimming the surface of a planet that is mostly deep, dark water. For years, the Bloop remained an unsolved file in NOAA's archives. Scientists continued to monitor the deep, recording other strange, unexplained sounds, giving them equally curious names like Julia, Slow Down, and The Whistle. Each one added to the growing library of oceanic enigmas. But science is a patient game of gathering evidence, and technology is always advancing. The key to solving the Bloop mystery wouldn't be found in biology, but in geology and cryology, the study of ice. As researchers deployed more autonomous hydrophones across the globe, particularly in the frigid, treacherous waters around Antarctica, they started building a new, more detailed sound map of our planet. They began to listen closely to the sounds of the cryosphere, the world of ice. They recorded the groans, cracks, and roars of massive glaciers and icebergs. What they discovered was astonishing. As enormous sections of polar ice fracture, break away and scrape against the seafloor, they generate immense amounts of acoustic energy. These events, known as icequakes, release sound waves that can travel across entire oceans. In the early 2000s, as scientists analyzed the acoustic signatures of these icequakes, they noticed a familiar pattern. The low-frequency rumbles, the way the sound changed in pitch over time. It was a near-perfect match for the infamous Bloop recording from 1997. They compared the spectrograms, the visual fingerprints of the sounds, side by side. The evidence was undeniable. The Bloop was not the call of a monster, but the sound of a dying glacier. It was the cry of a colossal iceberg, fracturing and carving away from the Antarctic ice sheet. The immense volume, the organic-sounding frequency shift, it was all explained by the physics of ice cracking and moving on a monumental scale. In 2012, NOAA officially confirmed the finding. The monster was ice. The mystery was solved. While some were disappointed that the explanation was so terrestrial, so mundane, the truth is perhaps even more awe-inspiring. It reveals the sheer, raw power of our own planet. The forces at work in places like Antarctica are so immense that they can generate sounds that we mistake for mythical creatures. The Bloop story is a perfect modern parable. It shows how a natural phenomenon, filtered through our own fears and pop culture, can create a powerful myth. The Bloop may not have been a leviathan, but it taught us that the Earth itself has a voice, one that is far more powerful and strange than we ever imagined. The case is closed, but it reminds us that there are still countless stories hidden in the depths, waiting to be heard. We just need to keep listening. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the obscure. There are more mysteries to unravel and more truths to uncover. If you want to be there when we do, make sure to subscribe to Chronicles of the Obscure and hit that notification bell. We'll see you next time.